Here are 5 nutrition tips for those of you about to start Ramadan. As per popular demand, I've had loads of requests for this one. Plenty of my existing clients are really wanting to know some good strategies to put in place when it comes to Ramadan and fasting in a safe and healthy way, or the healthiest way possible, I should say. There are definitely health concerns when it comes to fasting for that period of time. There are complications. There are definitely some key considerations you need to make in order to fast safely, and also do it in a way that you can still stick to your health-related goals, whether that be muscle gain or fat loss or something else, for example. So the first thing I would say is a very important one, and that is to make sure you're hydrating properly. Both, of course, in the morning and then in the evening before iftar. In the morning, I would definitely advise hydrating sufficiently. Honestly, as much as you possibly can. I would definitely aim for a pint to at least 2 pints of water before you begin your fast. You could also push this a step further and utilize something like electrolytes. Electrolytes effectively just being salts that are going to massively help with hydration and potentially things like water retention, energy levels, etc. I really would advise diving into electrolytes if you're someone that tends to struggle with hydration during Ramadan. I wouldn't necessarily use as much as you would typically be dosed in your typical electrolyte serving. I'd maybe go to about half. A good example here, so this is a company called 4-5 who kindly sent out these amazing electrolyte tablets. I would advise potentially doing half of one of these tablets to a serving of water. The reason being, if you're then stopping hydration during the day, you don't want to potentially counteract any effects of the electrolytes. By that I mean, because there are salts in here, your demand for more liquid can actually increase. So you don't want to overdo it, but you definitely do want to use them to your advantage to kind of ensure some good hydration in the morning. And further from that, it is very key to make sure that you hydrate properly before iftar, okay? Something I see lots of the time, and lots of my clients have struggled with this, is they will dive into iftar and they'll eat before hydrating. The problem is if you then eat a meal, which is very likely going to be a salty meal, before hydrating, you can actually cause yourself some late onset dehydration, which can be a bit of a problem. And also it's very common that you actually struggle to digest foods if you're in a somewhat dehydrated state, okay? So definitely hydrate before iftar. Now, a really important one as well, when it comes to managing your eating window and when you can eat, what foods should you actually opt for? Now, I would very much advise going for high fiber, complex carbohydrate sources with ample protein and fat. You definitely want to be opting for whole foods, high protein foods, high fiber foods that are going to take you a longer time to digest throughout the day. This is primarily important for morning meals because they'll keep you full for a long period of time and it will help you manage your blood glucose, okay? The last thing you want to be doing, and I'm not the kind of person to yap on about blood glucose, but when it comes to something like Ramadan, the last thing you want to do is spike your blood sugar in the morning and then have it crash below baseline as soon as your fast starts, right? If you do that, you're gonna really struggle, okay? Because of course, you're gonna get fatigue, hunger, and you're gonna struggle massively with the fasting process. If you go for a high protein meal in the morning with ample fiber, you should be a lot fuller for a lot longer, and it will take your body more time to digest and break down and utilize the energy from that meal. Therefore, theoretically, you should have a much more stable level of energy throughout the day for as long as physically possible, right? That's the idea, and it might well work for you. In terms of carbohydrates, I would go for basmati rice. You could even go a step further and make that resistant starch rice by keeping it in the fridge overnight to lessen the calorie load and actually increase the benefits for the gut as well. Whole grains, potatoes, chickpeas, beans, lentils, etc. An amazing way of breaking your fast to address a ton of different nutrients at once. Number 3 would be avoiding or reducing high sugar or very fatty foods, particularly when breaking your fast. Things like cakes, sweets, etc. And if you do them, I would advise doing them towards the end of that meal. Again, similar to the blood sugar point, if you're spiking your blood sugar in the morning or the evening, it's just not the most effective way of going about a fasting process, particularly when the main goal here is to manage your energy levels as much as possible. Now, I will reiterate, blood glucose for most people isn't really a problem. During Ramadan, it could be something that is actually quite key for you when it comes to how successfully you fast, right? How you feel, your energy regulation, your hunger. There are lots of things to consider there. So instead, rather than eating processed foods, opt for whole foods. As I said earlier, whole, complex carb sources, lots of fiber, lots of good protein sources. And in doing that, the goal is you're going to be ticking as much nutrient diversity as possible, okay? That is so crucial when it comes to composing that evening meal to break your fast. In the same way, it's very important to tick as many nutritional boxes as you can in the morning before you initiate your fast for the day. I would potentially also think about reducing your intake of coffee and tea, as they are diuretics and they can make you feel dehydrated and contribute to water loss. So probably not the best idea when you want to retain as much water as possible during this time frame. When it comes to iftar, you definitely want to prioritize good quality lean protein sources, particularly if you have goals of muscle gain or strength gain, for example. During this period of time, you definitely want to hold on to the muscle that you've gained. It might be quite hard to gain muscle during Ramadan as your eating window is so small, it'll be quite hard to be in a calorie surplus. But what I would say, during iftar, getting a load of good protein in is massively going to help recovery. It will help make sure that you hold on to that muscle, right? It's going to help to ensure that level of muscle maintenance. Now, if this means tracking calories and tracking your macronutrient intake for those meals, then great, do that. If you can do that, if that's an option for you, I would advise doing that to get as close to your daily calorie goal as possible, given your weight loss or muscle gain goals. And in the same way, when it comes to fat loss or weight loss, you can use this process to your advantage, right? You are reducing your eating window, okay? You can 100% use this process to your advantage should you want to, should you see it appropriate. Utilize the fasting period as a period of time that you're not eating, therefore you are most definitely going to be driving weight loss in the right direction. And then in your eating window, make sure to stick to your calories, and actually you can make serious use of this time frame during Ramadan. And in doing that, you will very likely help to push weight loss along the line throughout Ramadan, okay? So I hope these tips have helped you. This was a very popular one. Every year I do get a lot of requests for this. Plenty of my clients will be getting specific advice for them during this time frame based on their goals. So I'm looking forward to speaking to all of you. You know who you are. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's useful for you. Let me know how you get on throughout Ramadan. If you do have any further questions, drop me a message or comment down below, and stay tuned for next week's video. But in the meantime, Ramadan Mubarak.